Our statistics say that more than 200 people have been killed and there are 700 to 900 injured, at least 30% of whom are in critical condition and could die soon. May God have mercy on them.
Earlier, we spoke to a resident in the western city of Nalut. He says protests have spread there too.
A major protest is taking place now, and clashes have erupted between the residents and the security forces. Cars belonging to the security and intelligence people are seen roaming around. May God have mercy on us. You can hear live gunfire. The situation in Nalut is as follows. Last night, a group of people went out on the street, though the young people were afraid, and there were threats that an army brigade nearby, about 30 kilometers away, will storm the town if we rose up. But tonight, the young people came out in force. We can now see security forces on the streets. They are trying to clash with the youth, and they are shooting at them with live ammunition. 2 government buildings and posters of Gaddafi have been burned down, even his so-called Green Book. As you can hear, the protests are ongoing. We are trying to speak to the security forces because they are part of the people and we want them to support us. They are now burning the cars. We would like to salute our people in Benghazi. They have led the way in this uprising. They have been the spark. We apologize for not supporting them much earlier than now. We are sorry. We would like to salute our people in Benghazi. They have led the way in this uprising. They have been the spark in all this. We apologize for not supporting them much earlier than now. We are sorry. God bless their martyrs and have mercy on them. We salute them. We will continue our struggle till we achieve victory.
Well, a Libyan government newspaper editor has told AlJazeera the protesters will fail in bringing down the government. He says the situation in Libya cannot be compared with Egypt.
I'm sure that the Libyan House will sit together and these matters will be determined in the coming hours. All attempts to gamble with the security and future of this country will be doomed to failure. There are those with hidden agendas, those who are spiteful and envious. We are not Tunisia or Egypt. We, the Libyan people, are completely different. That is not to belittle other peoples, but we have our own means. Yes, there are many demands. The position is clear with the executive establishment in Libya. Saif al-Islam has a reformist approach. The leader has been urgent for dealing with many matters which you are all aware of.
The Libyan economy has improved since Western sanctions were lifted in 2003, but few of its people are sharing the wealth. Libya has the largest oil reserves in Africa. At the last official count in 2009, it produced 1.8 million barrels a day. At today's prices, that's worth around $154 million a day. Yet 2/3 of Libya's population live on less than $2 a day. Recent leaked memos from US diplomats suggest that Gaddafi's regime intentionally neglects the East to weaken the opposition. Well, Mufta Al-Tayr is with a group called the National Conference of the Libyan Opposition. He joins us now from Washington. Mr. Al-Tayr, you were one of the protesters that took part in demos against Gaddafi outside the White House. And we'll get to what you want the US to do in a minute. But what kind of reforms would you like to see in Libya?
Yes, let me first briefly salute our people in Libya who are now taking matters in their hands. And of course, as your reporter said, or the spark was from Benghazi, the main resistance, and she will continue giving until we reach, inshallah, victory. Our main demands is just like any other country or nationalist patriot. We are asking for constitutional democracy, for respecting of human rights. People who took to the streets in Libya are unarmed. They are basically asking for reforms, for better life, for respect, which all of these have been denied all these years.
Well, some of the witnesses that we have spoken to are convinced foreign mercenaries have been drafted in by the regime to attack demonstrators. What more have you heard of this?
The story is not today. Gaddafi have been training and arming from north and south, east and west people who thinks that he can buy and he can then later on employ to face his own people. My point in this, by the way, is that why Gaddafi is doing this? Why Gaddafi is not using his forces? Why he's using mercenaries? Gaddafi is doing that because he knows very well that he cannot and do not trust the Libyan army and the Libyan people. They are not going to shoot their own people. That's why he are using a mercenary, and he should be ashamed of himself.
So you believe he's losing support within the ranks of the army?
He's using what? I'm sorry?
Losing support. You believe he's losing support within the army?
Yes, he's losing support. And he also, a long period of plan, put the army aside. And he put brigades under his sons and his top aides, just to use them in the proper place. Khamis, his son, who was in the United States, while his planes dropping mercenaries in Al Bayda, was received here in the United States of America. And this is very strange and unbelievable, and again put a question mark about the foreign policy of the United States.
Okay, let's talk about what you want the United States to do then. On Friday, US President Barack Obama condemned the use of violence on peaceful protesters, but you say that's not enough. Why? Yeah, because if we again here in the United States and in the West choose to put our economic interest ahead of any other interest, including what is going exactly now, is a massacre. It's a massacre against humanity. It's denounced and prohibited in every law. So now if we at this moment we do not take a decision, a decisive decision, and use our tools, including convening the Security Council as soon as possible to protect these innocent people who are now targeted by mercenaries, armed with their everything, with tanks, with gunships, with whom they bought from the West. Now it is a very critical time for the United States, for the rest of the world to stop this. Well, Mr. Al-Taya, a member of the National Conference of the Libyan Opposition, joining us from Washington, D.C. In Bahrain, thousands of people have returned to Pearl Roundabout, the centre of anti-government protests and the scene of two separate attacks last week by security forces. Police and soldiers have now left the area. Bahrain's government says talks with opposition groups are underway, but as James Bays reports from Manama, many protesters say the time for talking is over.
The Pearl Roundabout, the place that's become a symbol of protest in Bahrain, back in the hands of thousands of people. This had for a time become a closed military zone, the place where soldiers had fired live rounds, rubber bullets.